Eagles, the Bills, both eliminated from playoff contention a couple of weeks ago, but certainly have been playing better down the stretch, except for Buffalo's game last week at home against the Giants. But at least the Eagles have been playing better down the stretch. Absolutely. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, NFL.com's Pat Kirwan. Glad to be with you here on Week 17 NFL Previews presented by Comcast. And let's start right there with Philadelphia. Donovan McNabb, 3 weeks ago, they wanted to run him out of town. Last week, he had a phenomenal game in New Orleans. If he does that against Buffalo, is that going to silence critics, or should people shouldn't be critics in the first place?
They shouldn't be critics in the first place. Go back and check out what this guy's all about now. He's a winner. He's been a winner. Have you looked around the rest of the NFL? Have you watched some of the shows that Jason and I do here? Team after team without a quarterback that can win a game. You got one that can win a game. He's finally healthy. To me, the bootleg run to start the game off last week, which turned into a forced fumble, which turned into a touchdown, what did it show us? His mobility's back. And when he has his mobility, he's going to be very effective. He's thrown for 470 yards in the last 2 weeks. He's back. He's going to run the ball this year for more yards than he's run since 2003. So his legs are back under him. They'll be fine.
And it's the first time since 2003 that he's finishing the season under center, which is big.
He's only had like 2 or 3 seasons in his whole history with 16 games. He's always been a guy that's missed a few games each year. You live with that. You have a good backup. You get through those 4 or 5 games, and he's back. He's got pretty fast recuperative powers.
The other part for the Eagles is that, defensively, this is still one of the better defenses in the NFL. Jim Johnson's got a good scheme. They've been injured as well, so they've had some problems there, but still the 9th best total defense. Offensively, though, McNabb's been hurt. A.J. Feely came in for one game. People thought he'd be fine. It wasn't A.J. Feely that was going to be your next guy. They haven't had L.J. Smith. Offensively, what are they missing for Donovan McNabb? They have Westbrook, but what are they missing?
Well, I thought the young receivers, Curtis especially last week, are starting to show us that he belongs in this group of receivers. They don't have a true number one guy, a guy that will demand double coverage. They don't have it. L.J. Smith's contract up. I don't know that I would offer L.J. Smith a lot of money. I want that kind of player, but I don't know that he can stay healthy, and I don't know that I want to get into a bidding war for his services. If he wants to come back, fine. I would not tag him with a franchise tag. I'd let him go out and find out what his market is. This team's all about a healthy McNabb, Brian Westbrook in the matchup business, and using Buckhalter a little bit more in other situations. Get them both on the field and do those things, and then keep growing the offensive line. You made a comment about the defense I want to support you with. It's the young linebackers. I've talked to Andy Reid a few times. He loves Omar Gaither, Chris Gokong. These guys are young, and they're starting to play really well. They're starting to key and diagnose. They've got a great pass rusher in Trent Cole. They got a lot of things going on back there on defense that are positive. They're the best team not in the playoffs, and I would say that they're as good as at least 2 of the teams in the playoffs.
They showed that by dominating the Saints last week
correct.
In New Orleans. All right, folks, on the other side for Buffalo, J.P. Losman's not going to be their quarterback. We know that. We know it's going to be Trent Edwards. Marshawn Lynch is their running back. Lee Evans is their wide receiver. Are those 3 guys good enough to be the nucleus of the new Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, if I'm Jerron and Marv leaving those guys, I'm looking at Trent Edwards saying, we got our guy. We can develop him. He's 5-3 as a starter when we know the supporting cast around him is average to below average at best. Now, he's under a lot of pressure this week. His left tackle, the best left tackle in the AFC right now, Jason Peters, is not going to play. And that's a disaster. Here comes old Trent Cole now. I'm expecting a couple of sacks on this guy and lots of pressure on him. Philadelphia is treating this, and Andy Reid told me he was going to get his team to do it. They're treating this like their own playoff game. They're going out on a high note. They will give Buffalo all they can handle.
And let's not forget for Buffalo, for especially fans of Buffalo, it may be disappointed the fact that you're 7. Your team's not going to the playoffs, but you look at this and all the injuries that the Bills have had this season and the way they responded and the way they played, and they were so bad offensively and so bad defensively, and yet they still won week after week, and a couple of games slipped through their fingers. This is a team to be reckoned with next season. When they get all those guys back.
No, when we start our preview shows, we'll be talking about them. But remind you of this now. You gave up 290 yards rushing last week. Brian Westbrook is in striking distance of the rushing title and has nothing to hold back for. I'm looking for him to have a big day, a 200-yard day. They're going to feed him the football. They're going to give him a shot at this rushing title because the challenge is LaDainian Tomlinson. How much do you use LaDainian in order to defend the lead in the rushing title? I wouldn't use him at all.
That's all a question of how much Norv Turner wants the 3 seed or the 4 seed for his Chargers team. That's a different preview, folks. Let's throw everything into the AccuScore prediction here. 10,000 tests. Eagles, 72% of the time on top. Numbers just flop. 2-7, 7-2. Who do you like?
I like the Eagles a lot in this game, and keep this in mind. As much as we're praising the merit and the efforts of Buffalo, they've averaged 9.5 points a game on the road. That's not enough against Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, the Bills trying to get to 8-8 on the season. The Eagles also trying to do the same. We'll see how it all plays out on Sunday afternoon on CBS beginning at 1 p.m. Eastern. For more on this game or any other in Week 17, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. and watch everything else on the CBS Audience Network. For NFL.com's Pat Kirwan, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.